Hi, what's up guys? This is the second video of Java programming tutorial, right? So today what I want us to emphasize on is what is meant by a computer program, a programming language, and then what? A compiler, right? So in order to call yourself a developer or to know once you know how to code, right? You basically need to understand what these three things are, right? If you are you have an education in computer science background, you surely know what these things are, because these are exactly the I think the what they taught me in the first 2 weeks of doing my schooling, right? So you basically need to understand, right, this and then how they work, right? So I want us to take it one by one, and then you should know, and then know what they exactly do and then their meaning, right? So let's take what is a computer program first, right? So here's the uh, here's the exact meaning of what a computer program is, right? So the official definition is a computer program is a collection of instructions that can be executed by a computer to perform a specific task, right? So what is meant by that is that, when I navigate to my Windows right now, right, you can see that there are a lot of programs here, right? So you can see all these guys are programs, right? I have Postman, a lot of, and then you can even see the Visual Studio Code that we have been using to develop to program most of websites and then application. These are all types of what? Computer programs, right? These are all types of computer program. But notice here carefully that it says that a program is a set of instructions that can be executed by a computer to perform a specific task. So what does it mean that a computer program needs to be executed first before it will perform a specific task? Now here is it. You can see all these programming languages, they are meant for what? Different purpose, right? And you can actually see that most of it are running here by what? But I have actually started most of it here, but these other guys are not what? Running, right? Why are they running? Because I've not what? Executed them, right? So if you want to perform some specific tasks, what you need to do is what? You actually need to what? Click on it to what? Perform some action. So I have notepad on my machine like this, right? So if I want to use notepad to write something, I just click on it, right, and then run as what? As administrator, or just double click on it to open, right? So now I have just executed it. This is just what is meant by executing a program to do what? Perform some specific tasks, right? So now the task of this notepad application is that program here is that what it does that we use it to what? Write text, right? This is the instruction this program writes. A notepad program here what? Instruct this my laptop that I have here to do. This notepad program here, it instruct this my laptop to what? To allow this program to what? Write some text, right? So that's exactly what is meant by what? A computer program, right? It's a set of instructions that can be executed by a computer to what? Perform a specific task. Now what are the instructions that needs to be executed by this notepad application to allow this computer to write some certain text, right? That's what is meant by a programming language. Now let's look at what is a programming language. So the official language is a programming language is a set of instructions or commands programmers use to what? Develop different kinds of computer softwares. So you have already heard of Java, C++, and then what? Python and the rest, right? These are all kind of programming languages. Now what do we use these programming languages for? We use these programming languages to develop different kind of what? Applications, right? We use it to develop different kind of applications that will instruct the computer to what? To do certain things, right? So you can see this notepad as I showed you earlier one right here. This notepad application that I just showed you earlier one right here, right? So this notepad was developed using what? A computer what? Computer program was developed using what? A programming language, right here, right? So the instruction that allow the set of instructions or command that allow this program to what, to be used to write certain kind of text, what is carried in this, in that particular programming language that was used to develop what, this this notepad right here, right? So that's exactly what is meant by what, a programming language, right? A programming language is nothing, just the languages that you already know of, Java, C++, and then you know the kind of syntax that we use in these languages, right? Like the instructions and command. You know, when in Java, when you want the computer to say write something, to display something on the screen like hello world, we do something like system.out.print, and then we bring a print line, we bring parentheses, and then we write something like hello world, a string of hello world in it, right? So instruct the computer to what, to do something, right? So those are the set of instructions that we encoded into our programming language to allow the computer to what, to do something. Now there's one thing that we also need to do. What is a compiler, right? So we have seen what is a computer program, what is a programming language, and then what is a compiler. Now let's look at the exact definition for compiler, right? So a compiler is a special program that converts source codes of high level programming languages into machine code. Now what exactly does it mean by high level programming languages into machine code? So you did mention of two things here that you need to take note of, right? High level programming languages, and then what, machine code. Now what are machine code? Let's talk of high level programming languages first. Programming languages, these high level programming language, they are nothing but your Java program, Python, C++, those are the what, high level programming languages, or any programming language like Python and the rest, right? So what this compiler does is that it converts the code that is written with this high level programming language like Python and into machine code. Now let me talk about machine code. You know, computers, they speak a kind of language called binary languages, right? Like 0 and 1s. You know, we human beings, we speak English language, and others people speak like they have their own native languages in their what country, right? So basically the official language that we all speak is what, English, right? And computers to the language that they speak is what, 0 and 1s. It's kind of something like this, right? Where did it go? Where did it go? Just a minute, right? So the computers, what a mess. Okay, give me a minute. Alright, so computers to the language that they speak, right? It's kind of this language, 0 and 1s, right? 0 and 1s, and you can hardly see that. You can't exactly know what this kind of numbers here exactly mean, right? But to the computer, this exactly numbers that you see here is kind of something that is telling the computer to what, either print something on the screen or what, do certain tasks, right? So that's what a compiler is, right? It it converts the code that is written in other programming languages into what, machine code, right? Into machine language. And remember, machine codes or machine language, they are the language that what, a computer speak, right? So those are the languages of a computer, right? So what we normally do is that we write code in our Java application, right? And then we use compiler to what, compile it. Mostly you don't actually program the compiler yourself and then convert it into machine language. When you are a Java developer or other kind of programming languages, they have their own compiler that if you're writing your program, you actually need to what, compile it and then run your program successfully, right? So let me show you exactly how it works, how this thing works. So this how it actually works, right? How compiler converts codes into machine language, right? So we have our, let's say our laptop here that speaks machine languages, right? 0 and 1s, right? These are called binary what, binary data types, right? and we have our Java application here, and then we have a what, our compiler here, right? So you can see this our Java application, it is actually what, writing hello world, right? It is printing hello world into the screen, right? So in Java we use system.out.println to print what, something onto the screen. So this string right here is a variable, right? This is the data type of this variable, right? This TB actually is a variable, right, that has been assigned this value hello world, right? So what we are actually doing here is that we are printing something onto the screen, and what we are printing is what, hello world, right? So how can our computer know that? Our computer doesn't actually speak English language, right? But all these things that I've been writing here, they are kind of what, they are actually what, English that you do see here, right? So computers to this their language, they don't speak English language. So if you exactly carry this command here and just hand it over to the computer without you comparing it, it will freeze, right? It will actually do nothing, it won't do anything, because it doesn't actually understand English language, right? It's like speaking with a Chinese man speaking with a Russian who doesn't understand the Chinese, right? So how it actually work, right? Whatever the Russian will say, the Chinese man, whatever the Russian will say, the Chinese man will actually what, not understand, right? And he won't be able to do, if the Russian man tell the Chinese man to go in Chinese, the Russian won't understand, so it will still be standing, it won't do anything, right? So this is exactly the same with our application that we develop in programming languages, and then what, and then we compile it into what, machine language. So we have our Java application here. So whenever our application is with our program is with that we have already developed, right, when we want to execute it so that it will be able to run on our computer, we compile it. We use a special program called what, a compiler, and I've explained it below. They compile programming languages into what, machine what, codes. So this our compiler, it will compile this Java hello world instruction that we are printing onto the screen into something like this, right? So this thing, these little ones here that you see here, right, that you just can't understand what it actually means. It actually means hello world on the screen to the computer. And just imagine if you want to write something like, how are you going to write using this 0 and 1, how are you actually going to write it, right? So that's why we actually use programming language. This is a which is kind of a form of what, English what, syntax in English language, right? So we write it and then we compare it into a language that computer understand, right? So the key here that you should note here is simple, right? Whenever we develop our application, after it we compile it and then execute it. When we compile, what the compiler does is that it compile our code that is written in our Java application into a machine code that what our operating system will understand and then display something, right? Without we comparing our application, it cannot execute on the computer to do anything, right? So that's the key thing that you should know, right? It's very simple, right? Very simple, and all developers need to exactly know what is meant by a programming language, a compiler, and what, a machine language, right? A machine language. All right. So this is actually the second video of the Java tutorial, right? So if you have any you don't understand anything, or you have any other suggestion, please let me know in the comment section below, right? And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and then see you in the next video. Have a good day.